All right, let's talk about one of the most important and, let's be honest, most confusing systems in your home, your HVAC. This is your guide to really understanding what's going on inside your walls. Let's jump in.
Just imagine this for a second. It is the absolute hottest, stickiest day of the year. You walk through your front door, dreaming of that cool blast of air, and you get nothing. Just warm, still air and a deafening silence from your vents. It's that moment of pure panic every homeowner dreads.
But hey, that moment of panic, it doesn't have to be the end of the story. What if you actually had a plan? That's exactly what we're going to build today, because understanding this system is the key to staying cool, calm, and in control.
So where do we even begin? Well, first, we've got to understand the world your system lives in. Your HVAC isn't just a box sitting in a closet. It's constantly fighting an unseen battle against the weather right outside your home.
Think about it this way. If you live somewhere with a really mild climate, your system is kinda on vacation most of the year. It's not working too hard. But if you live in a place with crazy temperature swings and thick, heavy humidity, your HVAC is in the trenches, working overtime, day in and day out.
Let's get specific with an example from our source material, Westchester, Pennsylvania. The humidity in the summer there is brutal, often over 70%, which means the AC has to fight moisture constantly. Then winter comes and you get these deep, long freezes. And get this, they can have 50-degree temperature swings in a single day. You add in things like local creeks that make everything rust faster and older homes that have weird ventilation, and you've got a recipe for a system that is under some serious constant pressure.
So when a system is under that much stress, how does it, cry for help? It starts sending out warning signs. And the real trick is learning to listen to what your system is trying to tell you before it's too late.
One of the biggest and most common signs, especially in those humid places we just talked about, is ice. Yeah, you might literally see your indoor or outdoor unit covered in a layer of frost or ice. If you see that, it is a major red flag. So what's actually happening here? It's usually a nasty combination of that high humidity and, this is the really critical part, restricted airflow from a dirty, clogged up filter. That blockage causes the coils to freeze up solid, which completely stops the cooling. But the real danger, the high-risk part, if you let it go, that ice can kill your compressor, and that's the heart of your entire AC system. Okay, here's another warning sign, one you can literally feel. You put your hand up to one of the vents in your house, and the air is just barely trickling out. This is way more than just a little annoyance.
The main culprit, a lot of the time, especially in older homes, is ductwork that's just too small. It was built for older systems and it just can't handle the airflow of a modern unit. The effect is super frustrating, right? Some rooms are always too hot or too cold and your system runs constantly trying to keep up, which just sends your energy bills through the roof. The big risk here is that it kills your efficiency and can make the whole system die years before it should have.
Okay, so you've spotted a warning sign. You know you need to call for help. What should a professional, stress-free service call actually feel like? Let's talk about what to expect.
A quality service experience really boils down to these 3 simple steps. First, you call and you get a real, live person who gives you a solid arrival time. No vague, we'll be there sometime between 8 and 5 nonsense. Second, and this part is huge, the technician figures out the real problem and gives you a clear, flat rate price before they pick up a single tool. That way, you're in control. And finally, after the repair, they test the whole system to make sure everything is running exactly the way it should, safely and correctly.
And why does that process matter so much? Well, as our source material puts it, following these technical standards is what separates a real professional fix from a cheap, amateur job that just ends up causing you more problems down the line.
So, how can you spot a real pro? Look for these 3 key things. First, they have to have an EPA-608 certification. That's the law for handling refrigerants, plain and simple. It's not optional. Second, if you're getting a new system, they should do something called a manual J-load calculation. It sounds fancy, but all it really means is they're doing the math to size the unit perfectly for your specific house, instead of just guessing. And finally, they pull the proper county permits for the job. This protects you and your home's value.
Now we're getting to the big one, the decision every single homeowner dreads. Your technician gives you a price for a pretty big repair. Do you pay it, or is it finally time to replace the whole system?
This is the big financial question, isn't it? How do you know when you're just throwing good money at a dying machine? It can feel like a total gamble, but thankfully, there's a simple little guideline that can really help bring some clarity.
It's called the $5,000 rule, and it's just a simple piece of math to help guide your gut feeling. All you do is take the age of your system in years and multiply that by the cost of the repair you're looking at. It gives you a number to work with.
So let's see how this plays out. Let's say your system is 12 years old and it needs a $500 repair. You multiply 12 by 500 and you get $6,000. Since that number is over the $5,000 threshold, you should seriously consider replacing it. But now look at the second example, a 7-year-old system with a $600 repair. 7 times 600 is $4,200. That's under the $5,000 mark, so in this case, a repair probably makes a lot more sense. It's not a law, but it's a great starting point.
But, wouldn't it be great to just avoid that panicked, expensive emergency call in the first place? Of course it would. So let's talk about the single most powerful way to do that, being proactive.
So what's the goal here? What are we aiming for? With the right care and regular maintenance, a modern HVAC system can easily last you 15 to 20 years. That's a long, reliable service life from one of the most important things in your house.
Well, here's the kicker. Look at the difference a little maintenance makes. If you just ignore your system, that lifespan can drop to just 10 or 12 years. You're potentially losing almost a decade of service life just by neglecting it. This visual right here says it all. And the good news is, this doesn't have to be complicated. Here's a super simple calendar to follow. Every 3 months or so, just change your air filters. That's the easiest, most impactful thing you can do. Then in the spring, before it gets hot, schedule an AC tune-up. And in the fall, before it gets cold, do the same for your furnace. That's it. It's really that simple.
Okay, let's quickly recap the most important stuff we've covered. Number 1, learn to listen for those warning signs, like frozen coils or weak airflow. Number 2, know what a professional 3-step service call looks like so you don't get ripped off. Number 3, use that $5,000 rule as a guide for those big, stressful repair or replace decisions. And finally, and maybe most importantly, remember that a little bit of proactive maintenance is the absolute key to a long, happy system life.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Your HVAC system is working for you 24/7. It's one of the hardest working appliances you own. So, what's one simple thing you can do for it this week? Maybe just go check on that air filter. You'd be surprised what a difference it can make.